Happy Thursday. I almost forgot what day it was. I'm the prep queen, Ariel Epstein. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this great Thursday. I feel like it should be Friday since I was out at a bar last night, and I'll go out to a bar on a Thursday. I don't typically go to a bar on a Friday. Anyway, I told you guys yesterday that it was going to be an absolute waste of time going out last night because with the Knicks as 5.5-point dog, or no, 5-point dogs in Boston, I was just like, oh, the book's telling you that they're going to lose. Great. And that's exactly what happened. They barely showed up. Anyway, who is showing up today? We've got great guests, as always. Tom Vecchio going to join the show, giving us props for every sport on the slate tonight. Don't worry, I didn't forget the king of all sports, the NFL. NFL scheduling was last night. Who better to bring on than someone from Vegas? My great friend, Mike Palm, VP of Operations from Circa. One of the sharpest books out there. He's going to tell us how all these lines moved after the NFL schedules were released last night. Super pumped about that. Also, the Vegas Golden Knights lost, and you guys know I'm not a big hockey person, but the Vegas Golden Knights lost last night, so their season's over. Really curious to hear from a Vegas bookmaker's perspective how they feel, because I know that they were getting a ton of Vegas action, so they're probably thrilled that all the public lost in Vegas. However, they were thrilled to have the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup playoffs because it brings in a lot of money. People come to games. People go to the books for the games. So that's super exciting. Jessica, I knew you'd be so excited to get Mike Palm on the show. Like, I just was like, oh my God, Jessica's like probably so pumped because she loves Circa. So I'm really excited for that. Last night, it wasn't great. I got a text about Porzingis like at halftime saying, that sucks. Yeah, that sucked. But first we'll talk about what was good. Where the Prop Queen newsletter went right. Celtics shooting guard Jaylen Brown went over his 25.5 points prop at 26 points. This is why getting to the window early in the morning, nonetheless, the PropQueen.com newsletter, premium subscribers, you would have seen that Jaylen Brown's points prop last night went up from 25.5 to 26.5 since the morning newsletter. By the time this show aired, it was 26.5. You've got to get the good numbers early in the day. If you had 26.5, you're a loser. Warriors guard Brandon Podziemski finally had his big game without Steph. He went over 11.5 points with 28. It was another big night for the Timberwolves power forward Julius Randle, who went over his 21.5, 22.5 points prop yet again. So pretty much Julius Randle, not pretty much, it's true. Julius Randle has gone over his points prop in every game without Steph Curry. Amazing. So that series now over with Minnesota winning 4-1. That is every Warriors fan's nightmare. They were really hoping probably to be able to get at least one game with Steph back because they had that weird 4-game layoff, but nope, it's over. So you've got Minnesota and the Pacers in their conference finals. Now just waiting on the winner of OKC and Denver and Boston, New York. The Knicks just need one win. They're up 3-2 in the series, and OKC just needs one win. They play tonight. They're up 3-2 in their series over the Nuggets. One more thing, my royal lock last night that wasn't Kristaps Porzingis, Jaden McDaniels. He went over his 12.5 points prop, putting up 14 on the Warriors. So we hit both power forwards. Again, a trend that was noticed at the PropQueen.com newsletter. The trend was that with Steph Curry out, power forwards have success against the Warriors. Draymond was scoring more, so other power forwards were able to take advantage of Draymond scoring more because he wasn't as focused defensively, which is why Draymond ended up going over his points prop, not under. He had 10 points. Diamondbacks southpaw Eduardo Rodriguez, that sucked. He had 4 strikeouts, did not go over 5.5 Ks. That was in plus money. I thought it was great value. It was a loser. I knew the strikeout prop market yesterday sucked. That's why even on the premium newsletter, I only gave out 2 because it was him and Michael Lorenzen. Those were the only ones I saw edges in, but like I really didn't love any. Lorenzen did not go under his 4.5 K prop. He had 5 and 7 1/3 against the Astros. And I'm going to be dumb enough today to tell you why we're still going to back a strikeout prop against the Astros. Porzingis, he lied, like complete liar. That was ridiculous. He said after the game, Porzingis on Monday, that he was feeling good, was able to go coast to coast. He was breathing better. All was good. Then yesterday, Porzingis had breathing problems. They said he was only available essentially if it was like completely necessary. Okay, whatever. So that was a loser. He played 12 minutes. Anyway, Sean says that we had a winner, Scooble. He had 12 Ks. Of course he did. Are we going to cover the WNBA? Yes, we are. I have some guests that are very good at that. I don't do it, but I do know that it's a huge sharp market. Hakeem Profitsky, he does it. We're also going to have some SportsGrid guests who do it, like James Young. He's good at WNBA as well. He was actually a women's basketball coach. So James Young is going to come on the show and talk some women's basketball next week. I know it starts tomorrow, I think, right? The WNBA. Lacrosse, Premier Lacrosse also starts tomorrow. Kelly in Vegas going to join the show most Fridays, so I'm super pumped. You want to trust a Laker homer? Yeah, because his sport's over, so there's no more being a homer when your team loses. Coach, yes. The Price is Right went the Price was White went the heck off. That's Jessica in the PropQueen.com newsletter, so that was awesome yesterday for that. Going over as well. I thought this was interesting. So I was saying about the Knicks and how I was pissed off that I went out and consumed alcohol on a Wednesday. Tomorrow, aka Friday, one of the most expensive sports days in New York history. Celtics at Knicks, second most expensive game on record at MSG. It's like $1,000 to get in the building. Mets at Yankees, second most expensive regular season game on record. So I know that it was about $120 to just get in the building for Yankee Stadium tomorrow for the Subway Series, Juan Soto's return to the Bronx. What's crazy is those tickets probably would have been so much more if it wasn't the Knicks at the Garden against the Celtics. I understand that, like, I'm a huge, like, you guys know, it's Yankees over Knicks for me, die hard, obviously. Like, look at the picture, look at the bobblehead, the helmet, like, obviously, I'm Yankees over Knicks. But tomorrow, I'm going to a bar in Midtown so that if the Knicks win, I'm partying in the streets. Like, it's Knicks or nothing tomorrow for me in New York. And there's obviously going to be diehard Yankees fans and Mets fans that are going to the Subway Series. And, like, I don't knock you for that. That's awesome. It's going to be fun. Tomorrow, it's the Knicks. Like, if you're at Yankee Stadium watching the Subway Series, you're not able to really watch the Knicks game. Like, I go to a bar, go to Billy's, go enjoy Billy's and watch all the games at once. Soto first home run is going to be a sprinkle. We could ask Tom Vecchio about that. He's going to come on soon. He's great at home run props. $88 for standing. I'm assuming you mean at Yankee Stadium. That's not that bad. Jessica said, I'm willing to drop a dime for a good game. I don't know. I don't know if I would drop a dime on the Knicks game. It's not the finals. I would drop a dime to watch the Knicks go and play like in the Eastern Conference Finals and win to go to the NBA Finals. I was willing to pay, I think for the Yankees-Dodgers World Series, I was willing to pay, what was the amount? I ended up getting a good deal. That's what happens when you network. You have to network. If you know how to network, everything in life gets easier. But you have to maintain friendships. Jessica said I paid like $500 or $900 for game 5. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I was willing to pay $1,000 for the Yankees in the World Series. Absolutely, I would. I'm willing to pay $1,000 to like travel. Like, at what point do you just cut it off? I don't know. Like, I think when it's your team, like if you're a Knicks fan, here's the thing. As a Yankees fan, I expect them to be good more years than not in my lifetime, which is bad. I shouldn't be that jaded, but I am. If you're a Knicks fan, after all these years, and I've only been alive 30, I know, like, you can't take this for granted. You got to go. You got to go to a game. Let's bring on SportsGrid's Tom Vecchio to break it all down with me. Nope, that didn't work. Didn't work. Okay, now that worked. Tom, what would you say is your cutoff for tickets that you would spend on a game?
I mean, it depends on what the game would be. A Rangers Stanley Cup game to go to. Obviously, we have to, go with what the market gives us. I think it's like $1,000 for an MSG Rangers Stanley Cup game is reasonable price. I don't know where I'd be sitting at that point, but to be in the building, I would assume $800 to $1,500 is a fair price to pay. You're not going to get you're not going to be.
And you don't care where you're sitting. You're just happy to be in the building.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
I
the plan
agree.
last
I was
year.
saying that
Obviously,
about the World
they fell
Series
short.
too. I said World Series standing room only. I'll pay like for standing room only for the World Series. I was willing to pay like $500-600 to stand.
Right. I've been to a bunch of Yankees ALCS games growing up, but I've never been to a World Series game. So I was actually the year they blew the 3-1 lead to Boston. I'd been to,
lucky you.
yeah.
I would just go kill myself.
I was there a lot of the years they played, when they used to play the Rangers a lot. When Pudge Rodriguez was on the Rangers, I went to a lot of those ALDS matchups. So I've been to all those, never to a World Series though. So I would up the price to.
You should have done that. You should have done that last year. I'm very disappointed in you, Tom. Very disappointed. It's okay. We'll forgive you. You did already get a compliment from Sean Michael. Tom is so good. His Game 7 -1.5 analysis made me so much money this year. Oh, what was that?
Good.
Did I miss that?
I would love to know what Game 7.
Oh, yeah. I don't know either. I was confused. Okay, let's talk about tonight, because tonight you do have 3 different props. Nope. Again, now I hate this thing. I was doing so well, and now this has ruined me. 1 second. Okay, there's the 2 box. Okay,
all right,
we're back. First in the NBA tonight, because of course we've got tonight and tomorrow props out here, but I think you've caught on to the same trend I did with Chet Holmgren. So why do you like under 14.5 points?
So I like the game under overall. Let's just start there. Not expecting a super back and forth game. I don't think it's going to be what we saw 2 games ago, where the first quarter was like 19-8. I don't think it's going to be that low. I also don't think we're going to be up at the scoring as we saw the other night. It's going to fall right in between. And ultimately, like, Holmgren's playing well. He is. He's shooting like over 40% this series, but he's shooting 40% on a very limited volume. So when he's shooting 4 of 9 or shooting 4 of 10, whatever it might be, like, that's good in theory. But the volume's not there for him, and he's not taking a bunch of shots from deep. So it's like, okay, for him to shoot 40% and get to 15, 16 points, like, he needs to be making 7, 8 field goals, and that means he needs to be taking close to 20, which he's just simply not doing. So if he's going to take 10 field goal attempts, great, shoot 40%. That's awesome. Be efficient from the field, but the volume just won't be for him to really push to 15, 16 points.
I agree. And also looking at Chet in these games, in the matchup in itself, he's gone under more than he's gone over for sure. How much does the way you look at this game get impacted by Jamal Murray's questionable status?
Not really. Like, I see that it's an illness. So like, I saw that, earlier, whenever it was, like, my opinion hasn't changed. If we get some update tomorrow, or excuse me, for tonight's game, if we get some update later that he's actually, like, it's actually game time decision due to the illness, that might change things. But I said it this morning on a show that, like, I still think the best way to play this game is actually hoping that Denver gets off to a hot start. And then I want to grab the Thunder at +1 or -1. Like, that is, I think, the ideal spot. You can actually play both sides. You can grab Denver at +5. You can wait for the Murray news, get him at +5.5, +6, and then play the Thunder in game.
These injuries have pissed me the hell off. Tom, yesterday.
What else is new?
Porzingis. Like, what the hell, dude? Don't tell me after the game on Monday that you're feeling the best that you've felt since you got sick, and then you decide that you can't breathe yesterday, so now you can't play. Like, enough with the messing with us. I don't like it.
I mean, this dates back to January when he was out for an extended period of time. I saw some rumors. I'm not going to insinuate them or say that they're real, but, like, he might be dealing with mono or whatever it might be. Like, it's a long-term thing. That's what I was
thinking. I was like, does he have mono? This sounds like high school.
Like, he is. This is like he's been affected for this for weeks, and not just weeks, months at this point. So whatever it is, like, it presents an opportunity for, as we saw last night, Luke Kornet to step up. It has to be more Al Horford. I think his threes are still 1.5 for tomorrow night's game. Like, someone else has got to do some scoring. If Porzingis is not going to be out there, or some type of Al Horford points, rebounds, he has to do something.
You're going Pritchard, though, over 14.5 points. Yeah. Why is he going to make up for some scoring?
So I like Pritchard overall, just in general, and he does play a good role when either Brown or Tatum is out this season. He's scoring 20 points per 36 minutes when Tatum was off the court, which is obviously very solid. He also can get hot from 3. So I also love the fact that he's coming off the bench, because the non-Brunson minutes for the Knicks are really bad at times. So if there were defensively, if Jaylen Brown's starting, obviously Derek White, who was great last night, okay, we're going to see some backups in there. I think Pritchard can get the best of Deuce McBride. So just from like a matchup perspective, he's coming off the bench, whatever it might be. We're talking about, now granted, Pritchard's not going to hit 5 threes tomorrow night. Or if he does, that's great. But if he hits 3, he gets 3, we're halfway there roughly. We get in the mix with some other shots, and he's going to be live because they need a consistent scorer off the bench.
The Knicks and Celtics are tomorrow, and then we've got OKC and Denver tonight. So, Tom, these are the 2 series that, of course, now they're 3-2, haven't ended yet, while we already have 1 Western Conference final contestant and 1 Eastern Conference final with the Pacers and the T-Wolves. How do you see the series playing out for the game tonight and tomorrow?
I think the Thunder get it done. I think the Knicks get it done. It's really that simple. The Thunder are the better team. They've showed that really throughout the majority of the season. Yeah, they had their struggles, and they need to learn. Like we have seen from them in playoffs where either they lose close games or they win by blowouts, but they haven't been really winning too many close games. So I think this will be a good learning step for them. I think they do take care of business tonight. And then for the Knicks, they're back at home court. They get the crowd behind them. They do come away with the win. I also said this morning where I see a realistic circumstance for the Knicks where they win tomorrow night, but they at no point do they have a lead greater than 5 points. Like it is within the margin the entire time, and they end up coming away with the win, but it's not going to be pretty.
It would be so Knicks to be the last team in. Like that was just destined to happen, that heart attack Knicks can never make it easy. They are back at the Garden, though. It's going to be absolutely rocking tomorrow at the Garden. I do know that the Knicks, a lot of them, like a Jalen Brunson, shoot better at home. Yeah. Jaylen Brown has not shot well at Madison Square Garden this year, Tom.
I would have to double check that. That's looking at his road splits and then road splits at a specific team. That's interesting. That's an interesting point. We also have to equate for the potential volume change with Tatum out. So he could still be inefficient, but if he's taking an extra 5-6 field goal attempts, that inefficiency can counteract itself.
And then tonight in Denver with the OKC Thunder, let's just say you're right, and OKC ends up moving on to the Western Conference Finals. Any shot Minnesota has over OKC, or you're like, nah?
It's tough because defensively and how they match up of what we see with Holmgren and Hartenstein out there, I think it does present an issue for Julius Randle. And I'm not going to say Rudy Gobert because Rudy Gobert is not there for awesome. Julius Randle's been awesome. The playoffs.
Won over his points prop every game without Steph.
Right. But defensively, if we could see Hartenstein give some issues to Randle, former teammates they were, that could present an issue for the big men, because if Rudy Gobert is not there for offense, so you can kind of just leave him be, let him stand out there, and they can have the defensive responsibility to take care of Randle. And then I assume they'll have Lou Dort on Ant. Okay, now we're working with it's actually a really tough matchup for OKC. I think the stars will shine, and Ant and SGA will have their time, but the other pieces, that's where it's going to be. That's where the battle's going to be won. That's where the series will be won for either of these teams.
Switching over to hockey, Sean Michael, before we get to your prop, said he wants to know your thoughts on the NHL games tonight. I read today 73% of 3-1 leads to 3-2 in the NHL when Dogs have Game 5 at home, so Caps Jets winning.
That's certainly, if you buy into trends, that's certainly one way to look at it. I can say that I'm on the under for the Caps-Canes game, under 5.5. I have no play in Jets-Dallas. I have a future on both of those teams, so it is what it is. I don't necessarily buy into some of those types of trends. Like the Canes have been so much better than the Capitals. So regardless of what the Capitals do tonight, even if they come away with the win, I'm still going to be on the Canes the next game just because they are so much better than them. They've proven it from the jump. They're winning close games. They're scoring. The shot differential or shot attempt differential is so heavily favored in terms of the Canes that I really don't see a true path forward for the Caps winning. And as we did flash the props before, I actually do like a Caps player for a shot prop tonight, despite the fact that it is heavily weighted in favor of the Canes. Dylan Strome actually leads the Capitals in points this postseason, not shots, in points. So when we're looking at a do or die for a team, I like looking at some of the secondary options, outside of Ovechkin, outside of Tom Wilson. I think we'll get some shots from Jacob Chikrin and John Carlson on the blue line, but the other forward to really step up, I think it's going to be Dylan Strome. My other pick would have been Connor McMichael, but I like the role that Strome plays on the first forward line and the first power play alongside Ovechkin. Defensive responsibilities from the Canes hopefully go there. Strome, just 2 shots, less than 1 per period.
It's crazy looking at the NHL futures right now, Tom. The Carolina Hurricanes going into the Stanley Cup playoffs were favored to win it all.
Yeah.
Then they had the second shortest odds like a day or two ago. Now, fourth shortest. It's Edmonton, Dallas, Florida, then Carolina. Why the drop-off?
It just comes from Edmonton winning. And Edmonton, there's also like a bit of a tax on them just because of the star power with McDavid. We know that's going to happen. The Panthers coming back and beating the Leafs. The Panthers are by far the better team. We know what's going to happen. The Leafs are going to end up losing the playoffs. And then the Dallas is interesting just because, they started off a little bit uneasy in the playoffs, obviously going back and forth with Colorado. And they did so when they weren't fully healthy. They didn't have their top forward, Jason Robertson. They didn't have their top defender with Meyer Heiskanen, and Heiskanen came back the other night. And now they're in the spot to close out the series. So I would like to see the Jets come back just because I have a Jets 20-1 ticket. I also have a Dallas 7-1 ticket or 7.5-1 ticket. So I'm a little bit conflicted, but it makes sense that these prices are where they are.
Yeah, no, the Stanley Cup playoffs are freaking awesome to bet on pre-playoffs because of the value that you get. But now, this thing is all over the place. Go figure. I want
to make one quick note because you were talking about the Soto home run.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah. So I brought up quickly Rodon's stats, at least from this year. So he's actually been obviously good lefty versus lefty. His slugging sub 400. He has an xFIP at 320. He has allowed 1.88 home runs per 9. And that's due to a 57.6% fly ball rate allowed versus lefties. And it's not a lot of hard contact, only 21%. So obviously the hitting for a lefty at Yankee Stadium is beneficial for Soto. It doesn't have to be hit hard, but if he gets the ball in the air, 57% fly ball rate versus Rodon, there is a path to it being there if you like buying into a narrative at longer odds because it's a fun thing to do, move teams in the offseason. I don't mind it.
It's crazy. I have to see if they've posted, if FanDuel has odds up for tomorrow. Yankees minus 142, Rodon versus McGill. I feel like that's very generous for Rodon.
Yeah, especially with how good the Mets pitching has been this year. And I think the answer would be like you could play, depending if no one has an interest in this game, obviously we are both Yankees fans, but objectively, I would play the Mets in game 1 and then just kind of do like the zigzag, as people like to say, over series. Like, no, neither team is going to get swept. I'll be on one side for the other, and I'll do a lot for the same. Like, it is rivalry series weekend, or whatever calling it. So I'll be back and forth with a lot of these teams. Like, you bet on one day. If it doesn't happen, you're just on the other side the next day.
Any trends in Major League Baseball that have stood out to you?
I love betting on hit parlays now. And this is something that I was talking about with a lot of different people where I love home runs. And, we talked about RBIs early in the season when I was here talking about Pete Alonso for an RBI, which he did come through. I love total bases. They're great. But, 2+ total bases, that's what you have to bet, right? You can't bet just one, which is just a hit in theory. But 2+ total bases means he needs to have a double or he needs to have 2 hits. Okay, 2 hits is tough. A double means he has to have some amount of power. An RBI, outside of a player hitting a solo home run, an RBI means a player has to be on base ahead of them, which is not something that they control. Yeah. So I've just been going with 2 players each record 1 hit, just a parlay, trying to get it to close to even odds, or good enough odds where it's been profitable, especially over the past 2 weeks. Just come through with hits, attack weak pitchers, attack hitters that are good overall, don't strike out a whole lot in good spots in the lineup, whatever it might be. Already hit on one today with Ryan O'Hearn from Baltimore and Bo Bichette from the Blue Jays. So it's been good the past few weeks.
So how much juice are you typically laying on each leg?
It depends. Like on Monday, I did Kyle Tucker and Bobby Witt, and that was minus 129, where that's a very fair price for those 2 hitters. Like, I wish the odds were better, which is what I said, but we're not going to get better odds with those 2 awesome hitters. So if I can be anywhere from like minus 125-ish to obviously plus money, which I've had a few, that's where I'll be. But I think the general area is like a minus 115 to minus 105 is where you'll get 2 very good hitters. And I think you should be willing to fire that on most days. Today was minus 114. Like, that's a great spot.
You're always someone that I talk to about home run props, and people love betting the normal, like Aaron Judge. Like, everyone's like, Aaron Judge is going to hit a home run because it happens more often than not in home run world. Sometimes I just feel the number is not worth it. Like, if you're getting plus 190, it's so silly.
That's an insane price. Like, if you see a plus 190 on Ohtani, Schwarber, Judge, don't bet. Plus 190 is insane. Like, that is like plus 190, plus 210. Those, and people are like, oh, it hits. It's like, oh, you hit 2 to 1.
I guess though, if you think about it from like a perspective of, let's just say, the Colorado Rockies, they could be plus 190, 2 to 1 to win a game. there's probably a better likelihood that Judge hits a home run than the Rockies winning a game.
It's true. I would have to bring up the math of what plus 190 implied probability is. It's obviously, I mean, I would have to search for it real quick.
It's okay. I'm just totally being
I'm saying the math, like people say, like, oh, it happens more often than not. Like a plus 190 or plus 200 implied probability is like 30-ish%. I don't have it in front of me, obviously, but like Judge, even when he hit 62 home runs, some of those home runs came in multi-home run games, which means a third of the time he's not hitting a home runs a third of the time in 162 games because he's not playing 162, and some of those are multi 2-3 home run games. So he's actually failing more than whatever it's 33% of the time. He's actually failing more than that, and you're betting on something that's what the implied odds are. It's bad. It's just a bad bet.
Hey, listen, I agree. I always say home run props are like anytime touchdown props, if not worse. And by the way, we did have the NFL schedules get released last night, Tom.
I would disagree with that in theory, just in theory based on the math, but that's just me. That's a different conversation.
Why?
Well, because betting on a home run at plus 400 versus betting on an anytime touchdown at plus 115, the implied probability is dramatically different. Plus 115 is like a 40-ish% implied probability. Plus 400 is we're getting down to like single digits.
Yeah. Well, that's why I don't I get it from a value perspective. I just don't like betting it.
That's okay. I love home runs. I love
I know
home runs.
You do.
But I love touchdowns even more because they're more predictable.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm saying I don't like anytime home run props. Like, I'd rather do anytime touchdown than a home run prop.
Right.
For sure.
I like
anything that stand out after the schedule released to you yesterday?
I'll be honest, I really didn't look at it. I have no time for the NFL.
That's what I say. Everyone asks
me.
That,
like the Titans have no primetime games. The Cowboys play like a bunch of tough teams in like a 4-5 week stretch, whatever it is, from weeks like 10 to 14 or something. I don't know. I don't have time.
Well, you're like me. We do a lot with baseball, basketball. You add hockey into that.
Yeah.
People are probably also very overwhelmed. Anyone who's out of the people that are watching this show, the board's always so overwhelming because there's so much to bet on. At what point do you start to look at the NFL, especially from a prop perspective?
Well, like once season-long props start to get posted, which is generally in August, that's like I could start on August.
There
1st.
are some up now.
I know, crazy. I saw those, but like injuries are going to happen. So you can jump now, but we're going to have players are going to tear ACLs in preseason. It's horrible. It's going to happen in training camp, but it happens. So like I don't really get into it until August.
Yeah. No, I'm about the same.
I see no need for it.
I'm about the same. I actually, and people don't know this about me, I hate season-long NFL props. I hate them. Okay. Like, I get so worried because everything's going to come down to like a game. If one player sits out for one game because he gets hurt or he has a hammy injury and he's out now 3 or 4 weeks, loser, obviously, it scares the hell out of me.
We should be betting more unders. Season-long unders are very profitable.
Absolutely they are. I love that. So I'm going to definitely be taking a look at some season-long unders for sure. Tom Vecchio, what do you got going on right now?
No more action today besides, the basketball and the hockey. Like I said, I'm looking to jump on the Thunder -1 in game if that happens. If we get there, I would love to see that happen. And then tomorrow I'll be back at it for more hit parlays. I already have a couple players circled. The odds aren't there, obviously, but we move on to tomorrow. Winning day today.
Any shows you're on?
I'll be on a show later at 6:40 to 7 on SportsGrid. I'll then be in Jersey at the SportsGrid studio on Saturday from 10 to 12 and then 3 to 7:30.
Do you bet ponies?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to be there for the ponies.
No interest in horse racing. Don't care.
I know I'm bad at it too. I wanted to get a guest.
I'm not bad at it. I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
There are things that I don't like, and I just act as if they don't exist. Just no interest. Like I want to watch it. I didn't watch the Derby. I didn't bet on it. No interest. Doesn't exist to me.
I feel like you would like it for the odds.
No, couldn't care less.
Tom Vecchio, thank you so much for coming on the show. Catch him at what? Tom_Vecchio1?
The number one, yeah.
The number one. Because he's number one in all of our hearts. Tom, thank you. Good luck tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure I don't bring Tom back on. Okay, waiting for Mike Palm to log in, and then we will talk all things NFL scheduling, everything that you should have looked out for when the NFL schedules came out. last night. Of course, I'm pissed off because the Ravens have a really tough schedule yet again. The Ravens are playing 3 out of the 4 first weeks of the season against playoff teams. It's an absolute disaster. And then they don't really have they play the Browns week 2. Then the Ravens don't have to play another divisional rival until the end of the season when they play their division like the entire last half of the year. I'm mad. I also am 100% going to the Ravens game on Thanksgiving because I've done it before. Grandma in Baltimore makes me Thanksgiving lunch. Then we go to the game, we tailgate, we get another Thanksgiving, and then we go inside for the game. Whoo! Ravens Bengals is a good time. But anyway, I'm sure he's going to give me a little crap for whatever I talk about Ravens. I'm bringing on my good friend who our roles are reversed now. He always asks me to come in when I'm in Vegas to VSiN. Now, Circa's VP of Operations, the great, the legendary Mike Palm is joining the show. Let me make sure I don't mess this up. What's going on?
Hello, Queen. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so honored to have you on the show. Thanks so much.
I'm honored to be invited, Ariel.
Oh, thank you. Jessica Brand is really excited. She does a lot of sports betting research for me, and she worked at MLB Network with me as well. She was super pumped that I said that you were coming on the show today because it's like we love Circa on this show. You guys are sharp.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We work hard to get that reputation.
No, I absolutely love it. Okay, NFL scheduling. It came out yesterday. This is like your bread and butter. This is everything. We need all NFL content. So in the last 24 hours, which team was hit the hardest?
But we don't put out our win totals until the schedule gets released. And then the guys posted them last night. And many people will say, well, why don't you post them after the draft? We actually feel the schedule has more to do with the amount of games a team wins in a particular. Just certain scheduling spots that are more difficult than others, and you don't know the certainty of exactly every team that is going to play, and you're looking for order and you're looking for travel. So I think the team we adjusted the most was actually the Vikings, and we're not adjusting the number of wins. We're going to adjust the juice that we posted on. We had Vikings 8.5 before we knew the schedule going out, 15 to the under, -105 to the over. And we adjusted it based off what we thought was a favorable schedule for the Vikings in a couple regards. Games, but those were supposed to be road games. So they're only playing 7 true road games instead of 9, which the NFC teams play this year. And they said, oh, they have to play back-to-back international games. Well, yes, but it's Dublin to London. It's not like they're going from Spain to Morocco or something like that. It's a very short trip. So they will have the advantage in the second week over the team coming from North America. So, and then the other thing was in those outdoor true road games in the cold weather cities, they got those earlier on in the year instead of later on in the year. They get to go to Soldier Field on opening week, right? The Monday night game. They don't have that game in late December, late November or December. So we thought the schedule was favorable to the Vikings. We moved the juice to favor the over. Now the public's going to tell us, right? The bettors are going to tell us where the numbers should be. Everybody thinks the opening number is the most important thing in bookmaking. Ariel, it's not. It's not. It's maybe not in the top 5 things. It's how you move based on the money that makes you a good bookmaker or not. So we want to throw it out there. And we'll take a little bit of money and move the numbers around pretty quickly now. At least move the juice, and then what we started out a few years ago. Now other books do. They give the alternate totals. So if you have a really strong opinion on a team, play under the low and play over the high and get 2-1 back on your money.
Oh, I love that. I mean, it's true, but I am a little concerned about the Vikings just from the quarterback perspective because we're getting a quarterback who was coming off injury, is very young. Any concern there when booking those numbers for him?
Well, certainly they have the highest variable in the NFC North because of McCarthy. He's the key player in the whole division, really. But right. Kevin O'Connell has put all his eggs in this basket. Now, two surgeries, and Rodgers is hanging out there, waiting to see how does JJ's knee look? Because if it doesn't look good, we're going to pay you, but if it does, we're only going to give you backup money, and in that case, he'll go to Pittsburgh. I mean, they're sort of holding the Steelers ransom if that's the other choice for Rodgers. But yeah, there's a variability there. I know a couple very sharp NFL bettors that are making large wagers on Vikings under this year.
I mean, again, that quarterback uncertainty for sure, which is what makes it so hard to book the AFC North when you don't really know what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. How do you approach the AFC North?
Well, Cincinnati has all their payroll in 3 offensive players. So if they can score 53 points a game, they'll be okay. Because they're going to give up 49, Ariel. So, I mean, there's a variable there. I mean, I don't think anybody feels very comfortable that the Browns are going to be as competitive they have been in recent years. By default, your Baltimore Ravens should win the division. I don't think it's no longer the strongest division in the NFL where it was for a few years back. I mean, everybody's win total was over 9, and it was ludicrous. And now it looks like the NFC North is probably that division. You could make some arguments if you think Dallas got better, the Giants should be somewhat better, and you've got the defending Super Bowl champs and a much improved Commanders team in the NFC East. You could make an argument in the NFL. Another team we are very interested in, and the schedule was sort of neutral though, is Denver. We've seen some sharp money on the Broncos over. Even seen some money on Broncos to win the AFC West. So I think, again, it comes down to, does Bo Nix take a step forward in his second year, or is it that sophomore slump? But they've put together a very nice roster around him out there in Denver. Think about it, this is a team that gave up 70 points to the Dolphins, less than 2 years ago. And they put a lot of nice pieces together, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So I think they're a very interesting team as well. For me, I've only made future bets on one team, and that was the Rams. Because I never believed they were going to part ways with Matthew Stafford. I never believed that. He's still a top 5 quarterback, Ariel. And so when they were still plus 210 to win the West, I took a stab 30-1 on them to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, those numbers have come down and they've settled into favoritism. San Francisco's a polarizing team for bettors. Some people are going to continue to fade them, which they did to great success last year. Others think that there's going to be a rebound. I'm not sure, but I don't think they can measure up to the Rams, who, let's face it, if they were able to block Jalen Carter on second down with 30 seconds to go in that game in Philadelphia, we might be talking about the Rams having been in the Super Bowl instead of the Eagles.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And the Rams have a ton of experience. They have a great head coach in Sean McVay. That West is really interesting too, because you still have to book some, like the Cardinals were a team I know that people were interested with Kyler Murray and what was going to happen to him last year. And obviously that team falls off, but great points about the West. I have to go and look at those win totals that you guys just posted. When it comes to these international games, like you mentioned, the international games, you've got some new locations, Madrid, Berlin, Dublin. How do you book them in new locations?
I have to tell you, it's very bad for business. People say, oh, it's great for business. You get a 6:30 a.m. game on Sunday out there at the world's largest sports book. Who wants to get up at 6 in the morning after being out on Saturday night?
I don't even want to do 9:30 on the East Coast.
Yeah, not the tourists. They certainly don't want to. So the book, instead of having this big build-up at 8:30, 9 o'clock for that 10 a.m. kick, usually these are bad games because we don't send the best teams over there, right? They're the middling to bottom teams. They seem anecdotally, they don't ever seem to be very aesthetically pleasing or entertaining games. I think they kill the vibe. I think Goodell has to stop with all this international nonsense, trying to spread this to the world. I get what they're doing. They're trying to breed talent in these other countries that are interested in youth in America playing football because of the CTE issues, right? So, I mean, I think they're trying to be proactive. The players hate it. The media hates it. Nobody wants to go. The people in London don't care. I mean, you look at them. They're wearing jerseys of the team's not even playing. I once asked Nigel Seeley, I said, has Jacksonville now built built up a following in London because they play there every year. He came back the next week on Beast and he said, I checked with every person that runs a shop in London that sells apparel, and there's been a total of 12 Jacksonville Jaguars jerseys. Who cares? Nobody cares. The people in Germany, they just want to go and smoke at the games. They don't know what's going on. Maybe Brazil likes it. Why did they play the Packers 1,000 seats? They have 90,000 seat stadiums. They're definitely afraid that it'll look like it's empty. It's a bust. It's enough. Do your 1 or 2 games. They're going to be in Australia playing on a Tuesday next year, I think. Enough, Goodell. Enough already.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, now we know how you really feel about this. So should we just blindly be betting unders on these terrible games?
I didn't catch that, Ariel.
Oh, I said, should we just be blindly betting unders then on all these games if they're so bad?
Well, yeah, but then Jacksonville gives up and the Bears score 38 points. And it's hard to say. There was one good game, I think, last year. Jets Vikings was a good game because the Jets had the second half comeback. But like Giants in Carolina was terrible. That took a lot of Survivor people out too. I mean, these games just generally are boring. And it always looks like they're sleepwalking through the first half because of the jet lag.
I always am like under or nothing, and I usually never bet props on those games because they are just atrocious. Week 1, though, everyone's going to be super pumped, Mike, about week 1. Obviously, we have a lot of games posted, if not all of them. Where have you seen any of these, like any sharp action come in early?
Getting good action on this Vikings Bears Monday night game. We opened at Bears 1. It got up to 1.5, back to 1 to 1.5. So we're seeing that game's probably been bet. I'm really interested where this Eagles game, the opener on Thursday night, will end up. People tell me they think this game will be 5.5 or 6. It's usually a showcase for that defending Super Bowl champion to show out, right? They get the home game, and for many years it's a tradition. They play very well there. So I think Kansas City catches a break, and that they play in Brazil against the Chargers. It's a division game. It's the only division game of the international game, so they don't have to play 3 true road division games. I mean, I think that's a huge advantage as well. Not that SoFi is a big home field. There may be more Chiefs fans there.
No, but the Chargers are the one team that really plays them well all the time.
They do. They're always good games, even when we think the Chargers aren't any good. They come down to something in the fourth quarter, and they've been able to go in there and win in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So where Denver has just not been competitive with the Chiefs in the rivalry, and every once in a while the Raiders will come up with a win, but it has been the Chargers that have pushed them heads up.
Switching sports real quick, how disappointed were you guys, or were you thrilled that the Vegas Golden Knights lost last night?
Well, we're not thrilled that the home team loses, but it eliminates a lot of liability for us that we have every year on the Golden Knights, because the folks in Las Vegas have, for the entirety of their 7 seasons, always bet. They bet them every game. They bet the over. They bet the puck line. They bet them to win the Pacific, to win the West, and to win the Stanley Cup. So that does eliminate some liability. But here in Las Vegas, we can now turn our eyes to the Aces as the WNBA season is starting here this weekend.
That's true. I can't wait, though, for you guys to get a baseball team. I'm super pumped about you guys getting that.
The Aces?
So? It's going to be so
You're
much fun.
super excited for the...
I'm going to go.
It's a good thing they're building the stadium as small as allowed by Major League Baseball, right? You're going to have to sell a lot of corporate sponsorships to get people to go in these seats. Unless that product gets better.
They'll have
now they've
Vegas
been the Road
luck.
Warriors this year. No, I doubt that. Has the Raiders had Vegas luck? The A's are very good on the road. 14-8 on the road, but only 8-13. And listen to the players chirping about that Sutter Health Field, that they have to play 81 games in a AAA park.
We lost you. We lost your audio. What'd you say there about complaining?
I said these A's are all chirping now about they hate that Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. They can't believe they have to play 81 games there. But they loved it playing at Oakland Alameda County Stadium in front of 3,000 people every day, where you had to put black garbage bags on the upper decks. I mean, come on.
Well,
Enough
they have to
already.
walk. Their clubhouse is not attached to the stadium, so they have to walk far.
They're lucky they're in Major League Baseball. Let's just put it that way. All right. They could be in the Pacific Coast League.
Oh, well, yeah, I covered that league. I've covered a lot of crazy leagues. NBA and NHL's like playoffs tonight. Anything stand out?
I think all these series are decided in the NHL. I think Carolina closes it on the road. Um, the NBA is very interesting. Yeah, I have a ticket on the T-Wolves. I'm not sure if OKC wins this series, and I don't know that it's over yet, that I should hedge or not. I know I wouldn't if it was Denver, because Minnesota is built to beat Denver. The Pacers, I talked about this last week, where the Pacers were still 16-1 to win the title. Of course, before Tatum gets hurt and before they win game 4. Now it's still 8.5-1. I think it's viable. I think everybody just thinks if the Knicks beat the Celtics, the Knicks are going to roll to the final. I say not so fast. So I think the NBA, I think the Final Four in both NHL and NBA will be very compelling. I wanted to get your take on DeGrom versus Hunter Brown tonight in Texas.
Unders on both strikeout props.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unders on both. I'm sure I'll end up going 1-1, but I'm gonna bet both unders. Just because neither team's striking out that much recently, and both these pitchers against the low K rate teams. I like DeGrom better just because he's gone under in 3 of 4 against low K rate lineups this year. Hunter Brown is really freaking good no matter who he's facing. He could strike out 8 to 9 batters in any matchup. But he's on the road. And the Rangers haven't been hitting well at home this year. The Rangers are averaging the 4th least runs per game at home, Mike.
Well, I know you wouldn't be over on Brown because you poo-pooed my Brown Cy Young ticket at 22-1, and now he's 4-1. But he doesn't have the name recognition.
He doesn't.
All he's done is going out there and had a quality start almost every time, though. So we'll see.
Yeah, and guess what? He's still not going to win Cy Young.
Well,
no, we lost you. You froze. You back?
Am I back?
Yeah.
I said the market tells you he's got a much better shot than when I bet the ticket, so I've got some value there.
Hey, listen, I think it's great. I like Hunter Brown. I hope for your sake that you completely prove me wrong. But if there is another pitcher out there in the American League who's got the name recognition, it's a loser. It's a storyline play. It's a story. Shawn Michaels said Scooble minus 140. Is he going back to back?
He had a rough outing last night. Didn't look sharp last night. He's had some bumps in the road, although I think the Tigers are the best team in the American League.
Hey, that's my division winner right there. AL Central winners. I couldn't believe that they had longer odds than the Royals. But I don't know why everyone booked the Twins to be favored to win that division. I thought that was silly.
Yeah, it's, they didn't do anything in the offseason either. And they finished just out
Third.
last year. But meanwhile, they, what is it, 11 in a row now. They can't be beat. Although Correa and Buxton collided today, and Correa sort of limped off the field. Both of them are glass. So that could have a lasting impact on that team.
Mike Palm, VP of Operations over at Circa. I've got to get over there. I've got to get to Barry's. I haven't been to Barry's since the Super Bowl last year, so I owe you guys a visit. Thank you for coming on. I know you're super busy, especially this time of year. Appreciate you, and thanks. Hopefully I see you soon.
Thanks, Ariel. Thanks for the invite. Anytime. Good luck tonight.
Have a good night. Let me not mess this up. Yay, I didn't mess it up. Cool. I'm sorry that his service was in and out, but hopefully you guys got some good info. I thought it's pretty crazy that the Minnesota Vikings, that's the team that Circa is looking out for right now. Jessica said, awesome interview. I need Barry Stakes Stadium swim trip. Yeah, same. I would love that. Okay, we've got 10 minutes left in the show. What do I want to get to first? I guess we'll go NBA. We haven't done enough NBA yet, so let's go propaganda. These are the most bet on props over at BetMGM tonight. Nikola Jokic under 14.5 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. under 5.5 boards. Christian Braun over threes. Jokic under points, rebounds, and assists. Michael Porter Jr. under 9.5 points. Those are the most bet on props according to BetMGM. I don't really have a feel for them. I know that I have no interest in MPJ because he's annoying. That prop for Michael Porter Jr. was 10.5 early in the series, so it's dropped to 9.5. Christian Braun, again, I said that he has made me nauseous, but if Pods finally had the big game without Steph yesterday, and Pascal Siakam finally went over 6.5 rebounds the last game, then maybe this is the last game, and maybe Christian Braun has the big game and goes over his points prop. So that would be fantastic if that would happen, because that's a trend that I've been watching in this series. So I'll start with the Nuggets. Aaron Gordon over 6.5 rebounds and Christian Braun over his points are two Nuggets props that I've been keeping an eye on. So for Aaron Gordon, he's gone over 6.5 rebounds in both home playoff games this series, grabbing 8 and 16 boards. In the regular season, Gordon had 9 rebounds at home against OKC. Christian Braun against the Nuggets, or excuse me, I don't know why I said that, against the Thunder at home in both regular season matchups. He had 16 and 24 points. In this playoff series, Braun has 8-point and 17-point performance against OKC. So those are two props on the Denver side that you guys could keep a lookout for. OKC trends. So the Chet Holmgren under on his points and over on his rebounds. So Tom Vecchio mentioned it with Chet's under points. It's a number that he's gone under in majority of games this year against the Nuggets. He has struggled offensively, but he's been grabbing a lot of boards. So I've seen this go from 8.5 around -150 to 9.5 plus money to the over. Chet's had 10 or more rebounds in all games in Denver this season, and that includes 13 and 16 boards in this playoff series. I know that I am probably on drugs and am an absolute psychopath, but SGA under 30.5 points now. I would look at that, and I'm going to mention that a little bit later on for another reason. But his points prop was 31.5. It's dropped to as low as 29.5 tonight. 31.5 was what it was last game at home. He doesn't shoot the ball as well, SGA, on the road. He's gone, so in Denver, 4 games this year, 28, 28, 18, and 25 points. He has never hit 30, SGA, in Denver this season. Now at home, SGA is 25, 40, 33, 34, and 31 points. It's a lot more than what he does on the road. So I would just be wary of the SGA prop. Yes, I know he's 30.5. He's ranged between 29.5 and 30.5. So that's one that you can keep an eye on or just stay away from. I also was considering today doing a parlay. You guys can let me know in the chat what you think of parlaying this, because I do really like the Chet Holmgren over, but for 8. So I would say 8 or more rebounds in a 2-leg parlay with Aaron Gordon 6 or more rebounds. It was around -110, -112 range. So let me know if you like that, doing the 2-leg parlay, a little bit of juice on each side, but I do think that they each have 8 and 6. Now, I think the numbers are sharp, and I wouldn't take the way that they moved. Like, I wouldn't take over 9.5 for Chet, and I would take over 6.5 for Aaron Gordon, but let me know what you think. 8 or more rebounds for Chet and 6 or more for Aaron Gordon for around -112. Thought that was interesting. Major League Baseball. These are 3 batters to watch in the game between the Rangers and the Astros tonight. Only 2 night games in Major League Baseball. So Marcus Semien is hitting .632 with a double against Hunter Brown. Adolis Garcia hitting .333 with 2 homers against Brown. And then Caratini, .286 with 2 homers against DeGrom. Those are your three batters to watch who have great numbers in the pitching matchup tonight. The Rangers bullpen has been meh, very middle of the pack. I have to check up on the Astros recently and what their bullpen ERA. Oh gosh, this website annoys me. I will tell you this, and this is what I said to Mike Palm. The Rangers don't score a lot at home. It's a huge difference from last year. Last season, the Rangers scored the most runs per game at home. Now, they just are averaging the fourth least. So I thought that was pretty bad. Pitching relievers. You guys will probably find this faster than I can. Relievers, ERA. The Astros, second best ERA in baseball out of the pen. So that's something to think about too. Rangers, fourth least runs per game at home this year. You're going up against Hunter Brown, who's a good pitcher, and the Astros have the second best bullpen. So maybe you take the team total under for the Rangers tonight. Everyone says, do the parlay. I'll sprinkle on the parlay. So we're talking about the, oh, no, not that. Absolutely to the parlay. Okay, I'm going to do it tonight then. I'll do the 6 or more rebounds for Aaron Gordon, and I'm going to do the 8 or more rebounds for Chet Holmgren. K props to watch tonight. I mentioned this to Mike Palm as well. Hunter Brown under 6.5 Ks and Jacob deGrom under 6.5 Ks. If you were looking at the PropQueen.com newsletter, you would have seen that Jessica Brand wrote for Hunter Brown's under 6.5 Ks. The reason I like it is just because the Rangers really haven't been striking out that much recently. This season, the Rangers are averaging about 4.5 strikeouts a game. 18 of the 30 pitchers to face the Rangers have gone under their strikeout prop, who are righties. Jacob deGrom, on the other hand, I like him under 6.5 Ks because he's gone under it in 3 of 4 games where he's faced a low K rate team. Now, the Astros were striking out more than usual to start the season, but finally, the Astros have stopped striking out so much. So I'm just going to look at some recency and realize that the Astros are going back to form of last year, where they really didn't strike out that much. These are all part, and I've just kind of like, it's such a small slate, so it was hard to not mention my Royal Locks without just giving you the info. These are the best bets of the day. The ones that I like the best on the slate. The ones that I mentioned at 10 a.m. Eastern time in the PropQueen.com premium newsletter. I didn't say they were my best bets. You got to wait until you find out my best bets. These are my best bets of the day. These are Royal Locks. Royal Locks of the day. There we go. Royal Locks of the day. Jacob deGrom under 6.5 strikeouts tonight. Jacob deGrom has gone under 6.5 Ks in 3 of 4 when facing a low K rate team. He had 3 against Tampa, 4 against Seattle, and 3 against Seattle. The Astros just haven't been striking out much. The last time a starter went over 6.5 strikeouts against them was Reese Olson on April 29th. He had 7 strikeouts. The number just feels a bit too high for me, so I'm going to take the under on Jacob deGrom's strikeouts. SGA, this number at 30.5. Of course, it scares me a little bit that the number went up from 29.5 to 30.5. I just feel that it's very telling that SGA's points prop is 31.5 at home, dropped to as low as 29.5. I'll take advantage of the better number and taking an under of 30.5 tonight. He has not cracked 30 points in Denver yet this season. 28, 28, 18, and 25 points. It is a big difference from when SGA is at home. I know that this is a potential clinching situation, so you think that your stars are going to shine and have the best game ever. Sure, maybe I'm proven to be an idiot, but I'm going to be an absolute idiot and take this under of 30.5 for SGA tonight. If it loses, you can tell me I'm on drugs. If it wins, you can kiss my feet. Just kidding. That costs money these days. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to my great guests, Tom Vecchio, Mike Palm. Subscribe and like everything on the YouTube page at Prop Queen Sports if you aren't there already. There are 1,200 of you watching right now, and there's only like 270 subscribers on YouTube. Go subscribe, so this way you guys can find all of our episodes, all the prop edges if you missed it, because you weren't all here at the beginning of the show. We had Tom Vecchio give out props for Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL. Mike Palm came on, talked about all the things that Circa Sports saw in the last 24 hours about the NFL. The NFL scheduling came out. who they like, who they don't like, how they book certain games. How the hell did they book these international games? Mike Palm broke it all down for you. The PropQueen.com newsletter, you could subscribe, premium, basic, get all the info that I just gave out on the show in a written form. Like you will see it look like this, written form. So this way you guys don't have to watch the videos if you don't want to, and you can just have it in front of you. I will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time here on the Prop Queen Pod. We're going to have some other great guests. Mid-Major Matt is going to join the show. BetMGM's John Ewing is going to tell us where they saw some movement over at BetMGM because of the NFL schedule announcements. Super pumped for that. I'm going to another bar tomorrow night in Midtown. So if the Knicks decide to win, which hopefully they do, I was looking at the numbers yesterday, and now it's still -2.5 Knicks. If the Knicks win, I'm going to be partying in the streets in Midtown. So everybody should come and have a great time. For now, that's all we've got for the show. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time here on the Prep Queen Pod.